What's on the menu tonight? Meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Let's get into it. So we're going to start with our green bell pepper, onion, and beef for the meatloaf. And we're also going to have the mashed potatoes on the side. These are garlic herb mashed potatoes. And we're also going to have a little bit of Jiffy Mix muffins on the side. Everybody loves Jiffy Mix. It really is America's favorite. So we're going to start by mixing up that Jiffy Mix. Follow the instructions on the box. Very simple. You want to mix it up until you get all the lumps out of there. You want it to be smooth and creamy. And then you want to add it to a muffin tin pan. Fill each of those cups up. Make sure you pre-oil the cups before you fill them. You know, you want to be able to slide those muffins out at the end. So a little spray vegetable oil will do the trick. Fill them all up evenly. You also want to make sure you preheat your oven to 350 before you pop these babies in. I cannot tell you how much I eat Jiffy Mix cornbread muffins. Okay, and then you can pop it right in the oven. Let's go. So back to the garlic herb mashed potatoes. There they are, boiling nicely. And these are a few herbs and spices that I add to the water as I'm boiling the potatoes. It is a little oregano, a little bit of minced garlic, some chicken bouillon powder, and some salt. That's it. We got a little corn cooking on the side. A little sweet kernel corn. Can't go wrong with that. We're going to get back to chopping up this bell pepper and this onion for the meatloaf. You want to make sure you chop that onion in very, very small pieces, as well as the green bell pepper. Very, very small pieces. So you get that all diced up to the side, and back to our mashed potatoes we go. So now it is time to drain the mashed potatoes because they have boiled and they are soft and tender and ready to be mashed. So we're going to pour them into this strainer, just like so. I'm going to give myself a good facial while I'm doing so, because that steam is steaming. Okay, there they are, nice and drained. Love garlic herb mashed potatoes. So we're going to put them right back into the hot pot, right back onto the semi-warm stove, and this is where we're going to mash them. So we're going to add a little bit of butter. Add as much butter as you like, whatever floats your boat. And we're also going to add some milk. Pour a little milk in. And you can keep adding the milk and the butter as you mash until you are satisfied with the consistency. Get your masher, and in you go. Mashing them on the stove melts the butter as you mash. Just a trick. So you do want to go in there and mash it until you get all the lumps out, until it is nice and fluffy. And as I said, add the butter and milk as you go. You also want to add some salt and pepper at the end. And there's your mashed potatoes. Back to the meatloaf. So we're going to add this tube of beef to a big bowl. Okay. We're going to chop that up. And start adding in our seasonings. So we're going to start with a little salt. A little bit of black pepper. A little bit of onion powder. And my favorite secret ingredient, A1 steak sauce. I mean, the flavor that this gives to meatloaf is unreal. So a generous amount of that for sure. And a little bit of Italian style breadcrumbs. And let me tell you what these breadcrumbs do. It holds the moisture in the meatloaf, and it also absorbs the oil and grease that comes from the meatloaf as it cooks. Perfect ingredient for your meatloaf. So a little breadcrumbs goes in, and then in goes the diced green bell pepper and onion. Then you want to incorporate all of those ingredients together. And there's your mixture, baby. Beautiful. And then you got to add an egg. It always gets weird when you add an egg, but you know that's the ingredient you need to combine the meatloaf all together and make it an actual loaf. So in goes 1 egg, no more than 1. And you want to make sure you incorporate that egg fully and completely. I mean, you don't want to see a trace of that egg in there. So it's going to take a little bit of stirring. And then there you go. There's your meatloaf mixture. And then you want to get a medium-sized casserole dish, such as so. And then you want to sprinkle those Italian breadcrumbs on the bottom of that casserole dish as well. Cover it with a thin layer. Like I said, that's going to absorb the oil as you cook the meatloaf. And then you just literally want to dump in that beef on top of those breadcrumbs. And then you want to start to mold your meatloaf into a loaf. You want to make sure it is an even size so it cooks evenly. So you just literally get in there with clean hands and shape it however you like. Square, round, flat, however you like. This is the best part of making a meatloaf, is getting in there and shaping that baby. And don't worry about those breadcrumbs. They're going to move around, but it's literally going to create this flaky little crust around the meatloaf. So good. After you shape, boom, there it goes. That's how it looks. And after you're done dressing this meatloaf up, you do want to cook it for 45 minutes to an hour. 45 minutes is usually good enough. This is the topping, a little bit of tomatoey glaze. You can use regular ketchup. Just want to squeeze it all on like so. And I like a generous amount of glaze on my meatloaf. So there you are. Then you want to get your little pastry brush and brush it on. Brush it on evenly across the entire meatloaf. There you go. And this is how you make a meatloaf my way. Thanks for joining me, guys, for Cooking with Q. Make sure you like and subscribe.